See, the initial topic for this video was asking y'all in the community section, yo, what's your one perfect fragrance in your collection? And in going through that comment, I started to switch the entire topic of the video. And instead of showcasing everybody's perfect fragrance, which are fragrances that I have showcased on the channel, a lot of names started popping up that I either haven't smelled, never heard of, and then I started doing research on these notes and I'm like, damn, I might want to try that myself.
You're gonna try it and you're gonna love it.
So initially the idea was showcasing your perfect fragrance in your collection. Now it's turned into your perfect fragrance has caught my attention and I want it. So let's roll my motherfucking music so I can put you onto 8 different fragrances that you consider perfect in your collection that definitely caught my interest.
In case you cared, out of all your friends, I wanna be
Bless you, morning, my beautiful peoples. You know who it is. It's your boy, 𝐷𝗫𝗏. That's the dope shit about being a content creator, an entertainer, or entertainer in this space. You go in with a topic, you have an idea of how you're gonna speak to the audience, and then it completely switches around. A 180 full, because there's certain fragrances and names on this list that I've never heard of that I'm like, damn, maybe I should check that out. And then you start shopping the prices and you're like, ah, that's expensive. Ah, that's not too bad. But the notes look incredible.
Hey.
What?
I just want to take another look at you.
So I'm gonna put you on to 8 fragrances that were mentioned in the community board by y'all that is the perfect fragrance in your collection. So I'm gonna start off with one of the most expensive ones, and I do vividly remember smelling it at the store, but that's Louis Vuitton's Lovers, or LV Lovers. Now that fragrance is retail about $330 or something, and it did smell nice at the store, but I knew right from rip at that time that I don't like paying retail for Louis Vuitton fragrances. I haven't experienced a crazy Louis Vuitton fragrance in a while that I felt like, yo, I have to buy this retail. They have a lot of easy to wear DNAs, which is super smart on the account of the person who's walking into Louis Vuitton should be in the 6 to 7, 8 figure range, and $330 is a drop at the bucket. That's the price of a keychain at Louis. So we're not the audience for that, people. So their price point is their price point because their audience is their audience, or supposed to be. Now the LV Lover notes, while I was looking it up, was like bergamot, galbanum, ginger, sandalwood, cedarwood, and solar notes. So the bitch is eco-friendly. But I didn't remember blowing my nuts off when I first smelled the fragrance, but then I'm consistently seeing a lot of people really enjoy this fragrance. So now it's intriguing me like, damn, I gotta find this shit at a under retail price to really cop it in the collection, get a full wear of it, and truly see how someone can showcase this on a list as their perfect fragrance. So LV Lovers is one I'm gonna have to pick up under retail. Next one, Kajal Lamar. Isn't Lamar the character on the BMF series? Now the notes of this fragrance sound absolutely amazing. I think I have about 2 to 3 Kajal fragrances, and those fragrances absolutely are beautiful. But the Lamar fragrance sounded really interesting because the notes are as follows. So apparently it has notes of berries, pineapple, apple, rose, amber, cedar, musk, and of course, like a lot of Kajal fragrances, a variety of roses. Now when you're mixing pineapple, berries, apples, all these juicy, fruity, and seeded fruit combinations, I just think of mass appeal. And I know Kajal fragrances, at least my experience with them, have a really solid performance, and on the gray market they're not crazy priced. So that Kajal fragrance on the Googles, depending on what gray market website, is hovering around that $90 or $85 space. So that's pretty much money in the bank. That might be one I pick up today because it does sound interesting. And for you to call it perfect in your collection, well, I want to see what your nose is about, bro. So Kajal Lamar might be my next cop, next one. And another house that's known for doing a very solid performing fragrance, not only solid performing fragrance, but known to really elevate their full presentation, is Tiziana Terenzi. And that fragrance is Laudano Nero. Now fam, I went through Fragrantica. That shit had like 25 notes in it, but the notes that obviously stood out to me were cognac, of course, tobacco, rosemary, oud, incense, and slate.
What?
Like a countertop or an accent wall? Who the fuck is sniffing slate? These fantasy notes get out of hand. Like, I really wonder what the perfumer is thinking when they're trying to put all this together. Like, what's the inspiration about putting like, ooh, I'm gonna add slate to this fragrance? Just like on certain fragrances, like, oh, I'm gonna add gunpowder or concrete or solar notes. Bitch, how do you Wrap your brain around solar notes. An artist is an artist. Now that fragrance is hovering around $105. For me, I find affordable, although the presentation isn't like the new style Terenzi because it is an older fragrance. It has more of that boxier presentation, but that conglomerate of notes sounds absolutely appealing to my nose because it seems to be leaning towards a fall and colder weather fragrance. So OG Tiziana Terenzi, Laudano Nero. Fuck does Nero mean? Is that dark black? I don't know. Put in my shopping cart. Next one. Now this one, I ain't putting this shit on my shopping cart because one, difficult to find on the gray market. Two, extraordinarily expensive fragrances. And three, I have a plug in the company, so I'm definitely not paying retail. And that's by the house of 𝗙𝗪𝗏𝗏. It's called Pure Narcotic. Come on. Narcotic. I need to smell it. But it's a fragrance that's about $900. $900. First of all, sir, ma'am, it, they be, whatever your pronouns are, you got money. Because for this to be the perfect fragrance in your collection, are you judging it by price point, like being the most prestigious? Or is it really that fucking good? Because those notes are like fig leaf. You got me there. Although fig leaf and fig, a little bit different. Cardamom, rose, mate, la yerba mate, musk, tonka bean, benzoin, amber, sandalwood, and vanilla. Now, 𝗙𝗪𝗂𝗏, bro. 𝗙𝗪𝗂𝗏 is one of these houses that do grenade fragrances for the 1%. I mean, nobody's spending $1,000 on a fragrance. Let's be clear. Unless you're a creator and that's a fucking tax write-off, you're not, that shit is crazy. But the ones who do, got a little scratch. I respect it. I'm rich, bitch! But one thing I never want to do is pay retail. So the presentation looked absolutely beautiful, and I know a few people that are true 𝗙𝗪𝗂𝗏 collectors, right? That aren't in that 1%er, but are true frag heads and like the exclusive of the exclusive and the exclusive. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like every other hobby in the game. If you like guns, you want to get the baddest shit. I want the Taran Tactical John Wick with the lightning bolt carrier because nobody else is gonna have it in my circle. I want an old school Remington 6-shooter decked out in gold, hand carved by a Mexican artisan with beautiful designs on it with Día del Muerto on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell a collector shit because they will spend their bread on whatever they feel makes them happy, and that's beautiful. Fuck it, go into debt.
This is gonna cost you.
Put it on my tab.
What was that?
Put it on my tab.
But 𝗙𝗪𝗂𝗏's Pure Narcotic I've never heard of prior to this list, so it definitely caught my attention. I just gotta make a couple calls. Next one. Nikolai New York Intense. Very minimal experience with this house. I believe I have 1 or 2 fragrances from Nikolai New York, and they're good, but didn't blow my nuts off. Now, New York Intense, obviously, as a New Yorker, I have a little bit of an interest on just because of the name. And it's solely because of the name, because when you hear this note breakdown, it's interesting that I want to smell this fragrance because the notes kind of sound horrible. Bergamot, lavender, citron, and black pepper. I'm Gucci with that. Nothing complicated there. It's at the base where we get a little funky. Styrax, Civet, and motherfucking Castoreum. It's just beast, old school, Chanel, Anateus, Diesel, abrupt, rash, like just asshole smell that's full class and has nothing about it that screams, hey, that's Cuba smell. But I'm interested. I'm still interested. No matter how funky and shit does, I like to provide people with my opinion. Why not? I have cameras in front of me. Might as well talk shit. I do it for a living. But how interested are you guys in fragrances that have these bold scents like Styrax, Castoreum, Civet? Bro, that's intense.
I like that a lot.
But it's also like $100 fragrance and you could probably get it a little bit cheaper. So I would love to smell it because worst case scenario, it smells like shit. I can still make a video out of it. And you guys love it when I have heave and throw up on camera and hate fragrances. So it's kind of a win-win-win for me. But I mean, the fragrance is called New York Intense and the smells of New York City are intense. So maybe it's in line. Next one. Finally, an affordable fragrance in this list hovering in that $25 to $30 space, Lattafa Al Nashama. I don't know, but apparently it's in that Initio Paragon space, which I think is absolutely fucking delicious. That's also where vintage radio comes into play. So Lattafa has a tendency of doing these same DNAs in different presentations as a cash grab shit, and everybody falls for it every time, including me. But sometimes I even buy them just in hopes that there's something a little bit different or maybe slightly better than its original. Well, its original clone, that make it good, because the notes in that fragrance are plum, I love plum, bergamot, pink pepper, Saffiano leather, okay, amber, and black pepper. It's all about the plum. It's $30, this plum. I've already ordered this shit. It'll be here soon. Let's see how perfect that fragrance is in my collection, because it is in yours, clearly. Next one. Who's heard of this house? Wellington London. Wellington London. And the fragrance that was mentioned on the community board as being perfect is Iconic Amber Oud. Amber in the name, love ambery fragrances, Wellington, London, never heard of it, very interesting price point in that $230-ish space. But the notes, now that's interesting. We got tobacco, ginger, cardamom, oud, pink pepper, cedar, saffron, and black musk. I don't know if I'm familiar with black musk. In my mind, it just sounds like black mold, which I definitely have smelled, especially when you're doing construction on the house. Shit's real! But Wellington, London. I have to get it for a cheaper price for it to be interesting to me, even though the gray market price is $230, which is under retail. I don't want to pay even that. I want to pay like $2-something. Well under that. But it sounds interesting. I don't know anything about the house, and I like these indie niche fragrance houses that I personally don't know. And honestly speaking, I don't even know if it's an indie niche house. It just sounds fucking interesting. So if that's a perfect fragrance for you, that's the only one you mention? All right, let's see what's up. Next one. And finally, another plum fragrance. Only this one is by the House of 𝗙𝗍𝗍, and that one is the Contemporary, which I absolutely have seen thumbnails of in the past, but I've never smelled the fragrance. Now, House of 𝗙𝗍𝗍 fragrances, another fragrance house that's over $200 and something. I think that's in the $3 to $315 space. But the notes in there sounded wildly fruity. It's fruity notes, sage, plum, nutmeg, cardamom, amber, cedar, cinnamon, and animalic notes. Of course, House of 𝗙𝗍𝗍 had to throw in that fucking twist in there of animalic notes. Have to give it a little bit of bold punch along with that fruity essence and try to fuck up my plum. But House of 𝗙𝗍𝗍 I have a weird relationship with as far as the fragrances that I've smelled from the house. They're all very bold, they're all very intense, they're all very nice, but I don't know, they're sometimes a little bit too fucking rough. That Batman edition, well, that was only the clone that I smelled, but that shit smelled crazy. But I can't really say that that smells like the original because I haven't smelled the original, so I don't know. And out of the House of 𝗙𝗍𝗍, I own number 3, and I think that's it. But for $300, I don't know, I needed it at a discount. That's just what it is. But think about the 8 fragrances that I've mentioned on this list. First of all, a lot of y'all are probably not creators, you're just consumers of the content and fragrance lovers, spending this kind of bread on fragrance. So it goes to show that I have a lot of people balling on a budget, but some of these perfect fragrances mentioned on this list are well over that $200 price point. Now, these aren't the only fragrances mentioned as the perfect fragrance in your collection, but the majority of them are minimum $150. So dudes are spending a lot of bread. They rather have maybe originals instead of interpretations, minus that one Lattafa. They don't mind spending the big bucks. And other than the Louis Vuitton fragrance and the Lattafa, they're all in the niche space. So that's kind of a cool social experiment to see what the audience is liking. I've always enjoyed what the audience's opinion is on these certain fragrances once they buy them, and fragrances especially that I haven't tried, because you're putting me on to shit. I absolutely love that. I love y'all mother suckers from the heart. Which one of these fragrances have y'all tried, and can you vouch for it being a perfect fragrance in a collection? It might not be your perfect fragrance, but it was theirs. But I'm just curious to see if anybody shares the same sentiments for any of these 8 fragrances, and if you know where to get them cheaper, leave it in the comments below. I love y'all mother suckers from the heart. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all bitches next time. You know who it is, biggest in the game. Smooth.
Hey, for all the chicks that got dead in the penthouse suite on top of my mom's crib. It's nonsense you never get in. It's nonsense that you would think that you would.